Good evening, everybody. Thanks for listening to Blue Collar Hockey Talk. Got Scott Feeney here. Got Wes Atkinson with me on the side here. Guys, we've got just a few games left in the season. We've got some news and notes we're going to go over. We'll talk about our games. Yeah, I don't know. I want you guys to like and subscribe. I want you to share this video. I want to hear who the hell disliked that last one. I want to know what happened. I like that. If you don't like the show, tell us that too. Wes, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great, man. It's so nice that the weather's finally turning and warming up and get outside and not have to bundle up like we were the past few months. It feels like playoff hockey weather, man. That's what I think.
Yeah, I guess so, right? I mean, but isn't it weird that we've got another couple months to go?
Yeah. Yeah, it's like another minimum 2 months before the Stanley Cup's awarded, which is going to be a bit weird. And then, we roll right into the Olympics, so I guess I can't complain too much.
You actually say to me that it's like, hey, this is how it is for playoff hockey at this time. I actually have no idea what the hell you're talking about, man. I don't know how it is in warm weather playoff hockey as a Leaf fan. That's why this year could be fun.
Yeah, I think of it, man, when we were young in high school and stuff, like just hanging out in people's backyards and we'd roll out the TV and with the cables and things like that, and we'd be able to watch the game in the backyard. That, especially when they would make it really far, right, and make it to the conference finals, like those were awesome memories. But hopefully this year we get to experience something similar to that, because it's been a long time since we've had anything like that to do.
We got some serious buzz on the horizons here, man. Like this first round, like it's looking like we're going to be playing a Montreal kind of thing. I don't know. I mean, let's get right into our news and notes if we can. I mean, this is the first time since 1999, 2000.
Yep.
That the Leafs won their division, my man.
It's crazy, eh? Like, it's been over 20 years since they won their division. Like that should be something that's a championship in between. Not just your division. Like to put that in perspective, Rasmus Sandin was a few months old. He was born on March 7th, 2000. Right?
It's unbelievable, man.
That's crazy. And then another crazy thing too, NHL games at that time hadn't been broadcast in HD. They weren't broadcast in HD until 2001. So this is the first time a Maple Leaf team that is the division champions is broadcast in HD.
You know what? As a Leaf fan, people can say we don't have a Stanley Cup in color. You know what? You're right. And we still got the biggest freaking fan base going, you know? Go Leafs, go, buddy. This is awesome. They've had a great season, man. Locking up the division, that was a huge check mark. Like we all know it's all about the first round. But This was a huge check mark. They had to put their money where their mouth is, and they did it, and did it well. It's beauty. It's beauty, man.
It wasn't like they crushed like the bad teams and were okay against the good teams. The Leafs have a winning record against every single team in the division.
That's a pretty impressive stat. Like, I mean, that tells you right there that you were the best team in that division, bar none. I don't want to hear the Leafs are first place because we're in a weak division. No, we're in first place because we won every single series.
Yeah,
that's why.
Absolutely,
that's why.
Speaking about the series, let's talk about the best player just on the planet, man. Can you believe Connor McDavid got to 100 points in 53 games?
It's disgusting. Like, unbelievable. Like, I was watching it thinking, like, man, he's got a shot. You damn right he's got a shot. Holy smokes, with games to spare. Like, this guy he's another world. Like, to see such a differential between first and second is magic. It's unreal.
And it's something, too, because you're absolutely right, man. Even a week ago, when he was creeping up on it, people were like, yeah, he just needs to get a 3-point night here, a 4-point night there, and he'll get it. And it's just like, what are we talking about? A 3-point night here and a 4-point night there. Those are amazing nights for mostly any player. And we're like, yeah, McDavid will just, he'll get a bunch of them.
Buddy, like, I'm looking at the notes that you got here. If this was a full 82 game season, McDavid's on pace to get 155 points. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, that's just crazy, and it's hard to imagine just because we haven't seen numbers that crazy in a long time. Like, I know Kucherov, he was over 120 a few years ago, and everyone thought that was a major accomplishment. And if this had been 82 games, and if McDavid was healthy, he would have blown by that, like you said.
Well, I mean, like, I've seen comparisons on Mario Lemieux.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's a name that you don't hear of. Like you usually hear comparisons to like Patrick Kane or like stuff like that.
Yeah.
We're talking greats, and we're not saying it just as like, there's numbers to compare.
Yeah.
Like unbelievable.
Exactly. I think like McDavid this season has been averaging 1.88 points per game, which is the highest since Lemieux did it in 95-96 with 2.3 points per game.
And that right there is why most people don't get compared to Lemieux, because that is unbelievable.
Yeah.
But this is as close as you're gonna get.
And you know what? It's
And
crazy. Sorry to cut you off, but like it's crazy to think of like how good McDavid is compared to everyone else. But Mario Lemieux, he's almost half a point better than McDavid is. Like that's how much better Lemieux was.
Man, when that guy almost caught up to Pat LaFontaine after missing part of that year, like the guy is just unbelievable. McDavid, I don't want to play him in the playoffs. I don't.
Mm-hmm.
Carey Price, get healthy, and no, we're playing him. I'm so sorry. Winnipeg, knock Edmonton off, because I don't want to see greatness against us, because he's going to have, 3 or 4 point night games like it's nothing.
Hey man, I would take seeing McDavid in the playoffs, because as of right now, that would mean the Leafs make it to the second round, and I will sign off on that in a heartbeat.
Hey, listen, I actually don't. It's something I should disclose. I actually don't sit and really want to pick and choose who we play, because I just think that when you wish for something, you just be careful what you wish for. Like last year, it was like, we got Columbus. Well, how well did that freaking work out?
Exactly. Well, speaking of teams that we're going to play and things like that, so 15 of the 16 spots for the Stanley Cup playoffs have been clinched. The only remaining spot is in the North Division, and right now Montreal's in that spot, and according to MoneyPuck.com, they have a 97.7 chance of clinching that spot. They need 1 point in their next 2 games to get that spot officially. So they're going to get that spot. And
do we play them again?
No, we don't. No more games against
that's it
against the Canadiens. Yeah, so it's all in their own hands, and I think like it either has to be Vancouver or Calgary to catch them, because Ottawa has been officially eliminated, and I think like either of those teams would have to run the table, and Montreal just can't get a point, so it's looking like Montreal's going to be in the playoffs.
I would say that I have absolutely no reason to think that those other teams can even run their little table that they got left. Like they had their shot, man. They really had Montreal in their scopes, and they just didn't pull it off. It's as simple as that. It's not like Montreal ran away with this damn thing.
Oh God, no. Montreal tried to give it away, right? And you think back to a few weeks ago when Calgary and Montreal, I think they had 3 games in a row, and Calgary had won 2 of them, and if they had won the last one, they would have been tied with Montreal with only like 1 game back of them or something like that. And Montreal won it, then they kind of ran away from it. But then both teams have been spiraling since, and it's something though. But you know what? It makes for good hockey at the end of the season, I guess. Like it's weird because the North Division now is like the only division left where the teams have multiple games left. All the other divisions, I want to say it's like 1 game left. I know one division is done tomorrow, which is May 10th, and then another division finishes up on the 11th. So, it feels like we're at the end, but we're not really there.
I know, it's kind of weird. It's so weird seeing them finish the season where Vancouver and Calgary are playing, 3 games in 4 nights to finish their season.
Yeah, man. You wish it would kind of be like baseball, where those like meaningless games, they would just get rid of them.
Yeah, you kind of do. But hey, whatever. But maybe there won't be. I mean, we both know that Montreal's in, and I mean, hey, we can start talking Toronto, Montreal. Like we won't do it this show. We got a playoff preview show coming up, I think, on our next one.
Yep, absolutely. We'll put the bracket together the best we can, and hopefully have the bracket like already done, because it matters with Winnipeg too, because if Winnipeg loses out, Montreal could technically catch them, and we don't need that to happen between now and our next show.
We really don't. Like, let's just anyways, buddy, we got coaching changes too through the league, man. Like yes. Arizona.
Yeah, Rick Tocchet, he's leaving Arizona, and can't really blame him for wanting to get out of there. That team is it's always in the news for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, I mean, it's not exactly a place where you're going to become a big timer.
Hmm.
It just is. I mean, look what it did to look what it did to Gretzky's coaching career.
Yeah, that's true, man.
That's a bit of a joke, but whatever. Um, yeah, no, that Rick Tocchet, he's been there for a while, eh?
Yeah, I think he's been there for 4 years, and the big thing I've heard with Rick Tocchet is one of his old buddies is the GM of Seattle, and there's a word on the street that Tocchet's going to slip in there as the head coach of the Kraken.
Oh, not Mike Babcock.
No, no, not
Not
him.
Mike Babcock. No,
No,
I
he's
wouldn't put it out. Babcock's coming back somewhere, man.
maybe he'll come back in Arizona.
Maybe he'll come back in Arizona where it's low key.
Yeah, that's it.
Hmm.
And well, there's
He can go back with Phil the Thrill.
yeah, could you imagine, eh? And there's another coach that's going to be leaving at the end of the season, and this one is not shocking at all, eh? Columbus Blue Jackets head coach John Tortorella will be leaving Columbus at the end of the season. He's actually been there for 6 years, and he's the winningest head coach of the of the club with a 227, 166, and 54 record, and he made the playoffs 4 times. So he did his job fairly well, if you ask me.
Oh, he sure did. I was reading up a little bit on it too, and I liked seeing how it was a mutual parting of ways. I
Hmm.
thought that he deserves that. Um, he really does. I think that he did a great job with where he brought that whole organization from when he took over.
Yep.
Um, it was just gradual steps forward until this year, right?
Yep.
And yeah, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say I'm a Tortorella boy,
Hmm.
but I'll tell you, he's gotten the job done, and he knocked us out of the playoffs last year. So I really can't bash him at all. Like he earned that Jack Adams Award both times that he's won it in his
Hmm.
career.
Hmm. And the thing is, too, no one will ever forget when the Columbus Blue Jackets swept the Tampa Bay Lightning in 2019. Man, like that. Good God, man! In my hockey pool that year, I think I had Lightning players, and they were just gone in 4 days. They were gone. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right about that. That one just came out of nowhere, and I mean, I'll maybe always hold a little chuckle in my head of just picturing the thought process in Patrick Laine getting traded from Winnipeg to co-play for John Tortorella.
Oh man, yeah. If,
What
well,
a
what would you think about if Mike Babcock went there?
um, it would actually be probably a good fit for his style of a play, like and how he coaches. It would be
Hmm.
a good place, and it's a little bit out of the radar. Plays in the division that's I don't know, man. Like because they play in the Metropolitan, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
So they're not going to be completely, smothered with coverage. Yeah, but I know I'm making it sound like he's got to get, you know, cradled. He's actually unbelievable with the media, and he can go wherever the hell he wants. Let's be
Yeah.
serious. He can handle anything.
Yeah.
Um, it's just who's going to give him the chance.
I think in a place like Columbus, it would almost be like a throwback for him because man, back in the day, he was in when Babcock was in Anaheim, he did a lot with a little, right? Like there were good players like Paul Kariya was there and Jaguar was there and net. He had those foundational guys, but it's not like the team was stacked with talent, and maybe he could do something in Columbus along those lines if they could get like they have good goaltending this year. I think is more the weird year, and if they have line name, man, they got some skill.
Yeah, man. Yeah, no, 100%. You're right about that. You know, you know where Babcock could land. This is just funny, just to think about this, because you know that Babcock has a fire that burns inside of him. He's just the ultra competitor,
Yeah.
I think, anyways, and he digs his heels in, as we clearly saw. Um, what if he has like I could really stick it to the Leafs here, and the Leafs could make this happen if we go like let's say we kicked Montreal's ass in the first
Hmm.
round. Um, what if he coaches there? Because there's a good chance they're going to be looking for a coach. I mean,
Yeah,
they may extend who's behind the bench now, but what if he's a bench boss in Montreal?
he won't be in Montreal. As far as I know, he can't speak French. No
Parlez-vous
way.
français? Non pas.
Exactly. No way that they would allow that. He could have been coming off that gold medal win in Sochi, and they would still been like, nope, doesn't do French. Like he's not coming in.
Yo, if there's any Habs fans watching here, maybe reach out to us because we would love to chat with you a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
see what the hell's going on. And maybe you can stat check this one too if you're a Habs fan, folks. I heard this and I want to know if it's true. Um, the other night when Drouin wasn't going to be playing, there was a good chance that there was going to be no French Canadian in the lineup, and that would have been the first time ever. Um,
Really?
but but they dressed a player, and he has a French background, so it made it a moot point. It didn't happen. Now
Hmm.
I don't know if this is right, but I'm going to look into it. I might have just completely just repeated some garbage that I read, but I don't know. Stat check me on that one, folks.
Well, talking about things that we want to get back to, our last show we talked about Tom Wilson a whole lot, and while we were talking that game with the rematches going on between the Rangers and the Capitals, there were 6 fights in the first period of that game. I think it was a line brawl off puck drop, and I don't know about you, I'm fine with seeing that stuff, man. Like this doesn't happen very often in hockey, so that's fine.
Listen, I have a problem with staged fights,
Mm-hmm.
okay, when it's on a nightly basis on a thing like that, because it does, those are stupid. This made sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
This happens in hockey. This is where fighting happens in hockey.
Yeah.
This like and I'm not a big fan of fighting in hockey, but this is where it makes sense. That's what happens. The code took place, man. It
Yeah.
didn't matter what happened from the suspension or no suspensions that took place. Um, actually, maybe it fueled the fire.
Maybe it did, but you know what I think too? That fight wasn't only about Wilson. That fight was about the Rangers as well because I think they were embarrassed by that statement. The I think it was the owner released, and they thought like, hey, they can fight their own battles, and especially after what Mark Messier tweeted out about how you have to not only win on the ice, win in the streets, and about how he pretty much just called them soft, and they wanted to show that they're not soft.
No, you're right. This was a big statement game because this sets the tune going going forward.
Mm-hmm.
This is who we are, boys. Like this is our identity. You can't do that. You can't push us around, throw us around like we're a friggin', a mismatch in WWE.
Yeah.
Like that can't take place. Now, um, Panarin, what the hell were you thinking? I can't help but go back to that, but I won't.
Yeah.
I
Well,
won't.
no,
You're
I
jumping on a guy that's twice your
Yep.
size.
I want to go back to that actually because my partner, I showed her the clip and she watches hockey but not nearly as much as us. I showed her that clip and we were talking about, should Wilson have gotten suspended for it, and like we said, I think he shouldn't. Like, they made the right choice by not suspending him because he was the one that got jumped on. She brought up the idea of why don't you just suspend both of them?
I had a friend say that they both should have maybe got suspended one
Yeah.
game
Yep.
just to make it so that this didn't happen.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
and and my buddy had said the same thing, and it's a great point by Janet, man. Like
Hmm.
she's bang on it, because if they would have taken action like that, it could have actually made it so that did you see the penalty box?
Oh yeah, it was a
There was a
joke, right?
picture and a meme about it.
Yep.
Like if that took place in Ontario, they would have all received fines.
Yep.
You know,
If they were
there's
in their
so many
hotel
people
rooms
in
like
there.
that, they would have gotten fines. Oh yeah,
Yes.
it was such a joke, and it made me think like I didn't even think of that, and she thought, yeah, suspend both of them for like a game or two or something like that, because you couldn't, in my mind, you couldn't suspend Wilson for being bigger than the other guy, but bigger than Panarin. Like that's not fair.
Right. Like Wilson threw the guy. Well, Panarin jumped on him.
Yeah,
Like it.
yeah,
But like you said, one's bigger than the other, so one, it mattered in one situation, not in the other.
yeah,
But I'm with you. That would have been a great call, suspending each one game. I
yeah.
hear you on that. Just purely to keep peace and to keep that big Donnybrook from taking place.
Exactly, yeah. And last thing I want to mention about this is the New York Rangers were fined $250,000 for their statement made in protest of the NHL's decision to not suspend Wilson. So the Rangers ended up paying $250,000, and Wilson ended up paying $5,000. Like, just pretty much exactly what we called the other day.
Unbelievable. Like, I mean, like, I'm not shocked at all. Like, obviously, were they going to get a fine? You just attacked your own employer. Like,
Yeah,
they can't fire you.
no.
So they're going to fine you a lot of money, and that one hurts because there's no gate sales, like that comes straight out of the owner's pocket.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And so it should. It came off the owner's pen tip.
Exactly, yeah. That for sure it did. Well, you know what, man? We've talked a lot about the news, about what's been going on in the NHL. Let's get into some Leaf games.
Oh, yeah, we had a couple Leaf games, and they were fantastic games because they were both W's, man.
Mm-hmm.
Both W's. You know, we had one game. The first one was Thursday. Canadians and the Leafs, 5-2 win. You know, it was all Leafs, all game, man.
Yep. Yeah, I'd like to see Galchenyuk score like 16 seconds in. And man, the Leafs were just all over that Montreal rookie goalie. Eh? They got 4 behind him in the first period, and he was pulled to the rest of the game.
I know. That wasn't a very good one for him, huh? Like,
Yeah.
no, you might have to shake that one off, bud. You know, good thing there was no fans in the building there.
Oh yeah, good. The Leafs were pretty much in cruise control for the rest of the game, man. Like Montreal did make it 4-2 in the third, but I wasn't worried. I don't know how you felt after that second one went in.
No, I was just watching to see if Matthews was going to get me a 6-pack beer.
Yeah.
43 goals. That's what we need him to get to, and he's
No,
got up to 40 on that one.
which was awesome, eh? To see him get his 40th. Like he hasn't scored an empty netter all year, which is even crazier when you think of that.
That's unbelievable. Like, and I mean, I'm not trying to take away from empty net goals, but he hasn't scored an empty net goal.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is. He's well, okay. How about this? 40 goals. What is it? 49 games played? Did he have?
Something like that. Yeah, I think so.
So regardless of that, out of the entire league, all active players in the entire league, we've got McDavid, we've got Crosby, we've got Ovechkin, you've got McKinnon. Take your pick of whoever the hell you want to say. All active players. Matthews is the only guy to score 40 goals in under 50 games.
Awesome. That's
not just
awesome.
this year.
Yeah.
In their career.
Yeah, that's absolutely
amazing.
Amazing, and it's so nice that we have a legit superstar on the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yeah, man. I mean, like, we for years were praising guys, and so we should, not taking away from, you know, like Clark and like Sundin. Like Sundin was awesome, but he was a point per game player. Yeah. We have a guy that's almost a goal per game player. This is insanity.
Yeah,
like he would have been on pace to score what, 60, 65 goals? Like what?
Yeah, something like that. Especially over 82, he would have cleared 60, and that would have been a Leaf record beyond belief.
Do we have a chance of seeing 65 goals out of this boy?
I don't know, man, because I think next year when we're playing against the whole league and there's travel and things like that, you never know, and I hope so. That would be an interesting bet maybe next year if we put a little bit of something on that.
All right. I mean, in all fairness, he was on similar scoring paces when we were playing against the entire league. So this whole thing of we're playing against the same teams, and that's why he's got all these goals. He's been doing this since the first game that he scored 4 goals against Anderson in Ottawa.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're absolutely right. But let's move on to another game where he didn't actually score.
Saturday, I didn't want to talk about that.
I do. It's a funny thing, eh? Saturday, May 8th, the Leafs took on the Canadiens again. 3-2 comeback win, and it actually clinched the division for the Toronto Maple Leafs.
First place, buddy.
Yep.
First place. And I mean, we can actually sit there and be like, we sit there and we've got first place wrapped up. Do you want to rest any guys? I don't. I want to go in sharp. I want to go play in hot. Let's play, But I mean, it was a good game. It was fun. We won 3-2 again.
Yeah, man, the beginning of the game, it felt like the Canadiens came out and they were way more desperate, which they should be because they need a point to clinch a playoff spot. They got the first 2 goals of the game, but then the Leafs were just able to take over the game, and they got 3 goals in 10 minutes in the second period. And I don't know, I couldn't believe what happened in the third. Like, to me, Montreal just wasn't able to get anything going. Like, I really expected a push, and it didn't come.
6 shots on net, man. Like, they had 6 shots on net in the third period. This is a game where they could have they got to get wins too. They just do. Like, they can't go limping into the playoffs against the team that you're potentially playing against. Like, there's a psyche factor involved here, and it's nothing about playing possum. You're getting your ass kicked, and that's not going to look well inside of that dressing room. And you're looking in your mirror thinking, we have to go 7 games against these boys or hope to get that many in. And I'm talking like it's going to be a rollover. Montreal and Toronto is going to be a dynamite series. And I know that the Leafs are going to be favored, but I'll tell you, watching them win that game and hold them down to 6 shots in the third period, that gives me a whole lot of confidence.
Yeah, me too, man. And I think it goes to show too, the Leafs weren't playing at 100%. Like they weren't giving it their all because like they don't want to risk getting hurt, which I'm 100% comfortable with. So the fact they were still able to shut the door on the Canadiens, they were able to rely on their systems and be able to win that game against a desperate team. All positive things from this side.
I hear you, man. I hear you. Like, I mean, did the power play go perfect? Did we have 100% power play?
We had
No.
a 100% penalty kill. Not too sure
Oh,
about the power play, but God, they need to get that going. Yeah, and I don't care if they did score.
yeah, me either, man. I
Yeah,
don't. I don't. Oh well, whatever. Go Leafs, go, buddy. Go
exactly.
friggin' Leafs, go.
Well, one thing we did mention, we're going to do a playoff preview show for our next episode. But this one, I figured let's look back at what we called our division winners to be at the beginning of the season and compare them to what they're actually going to be. And granted, one division isn't, they don't have their division winner wrapped up yet, but we pretty much all know it's going to be Vegas. I think they just need to get one more point. Colorado could overtake them, but they'd have to, I think, win out. I don't see that happening. So let's just say Vegas won that division. If you're okay
Yeah,
with
right. Yeah, I'm good with this, and I appreciate you putting this together because you said before that you had, and we didn't talk about what you revealed. So you're gonna kind of catch me off guard. I'm gonna maybe be eating some humble pie. I don't know.
that. All right, well, let's start with the North Division, man. We both called the Toronto Maple Leafs winning, so we're starting off on a high. So
And I'm
that
not doing that through blue-colored glasses, man. Like
yeah,
they should have won the division.
absolutely, man. And I agree. Like I remember talking at the beginning of the season saying like they're the best team, top to bottom, and you know these were all base made these were all picks were made on like no injuries and things like that. So this isn't a surprise that the Toronto Maple Leafs won.
I would love to know if, I mean, people, who the hell saw Jack Campbell
Mm-hmm.
running the table on net for the last 20 games? Like unbelievable. 16 2-2, 17 2-2 now, I think.
I think so. Yeah, it's crazy.
Holy smokes!
And
But anyways,
yeah, yeah. I think with Jack Campbell, before we move on, he might not be this good next year, but he's this good right now, and that's what matters.
buddy, goaltenders can get hot, and he's hot. Let's go.
Yeah.
Playoffs are here.
All right, let's move on to the Central Division. I picked the Tampa Bay Lightning. What do you think you picked?
In the Central,
Yeah,
I would have picked the Tampa Bay Lightning too.
you did, and we were both wrong. The Carolina Hurricanes won. I'm surprised.
Yeah, I would never have gone with that. I may have very well have had Carolina maybe squeaking in on the fourth spot
Mm-hmm.
if we can find those. I bet you that was probably my thought there. I didn't see them having this season. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, neither did I, man. Not a chance. How about we'll move on to the East Division? I had the Washington Capitals, and who do you think you had?
I would have had the Islanders. I've been betting on Lou for so long. I had the Islanders a week ago.
You did not have the Islanders at the beginning of the season. You actually picked
Jesus.
the Philadelphia Flyers, who didn't even make the playoffs to win the division.
Humble pie. I
Yeah.
really thought Hart was going to be a hell of a goalie. I thought he was just going to be lights out. But
Oh,
I'll tell you,
oh,
didn't
for
see
sure.
that season coming, man. Didn't see it coming.
Yeah. And last but not least, the West Division. We're gonna say Vegas won. They have 2 games left. They need 1 point to win the division. Colorado could catch them. They have 3 games left, but they have to get 5 out of 6 possible points, and Vegas has to lose out. So let's say Vegas won. Who do you think you picked?
I'm sure I picked Colorado.
So did I. There you go.
It was a toss up between them and Vegas, though.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I even had Colorado going right to the Cup final against the Leafs. And I think that I said that Colorado would beat them in the Cup final. But hell, I
Well,
think that's what I said.
speaking of that, I do have our projected Cup winners. We both picked the Colorado Avalanche to win the Stanley Cup this year. So who knows if that happens? One thing we
Oh,
did,
I don't know.
yeah. One thing we,
Imagine if I gotta say it. Can you imagine if Colorado did beat the Leafs in the Stanley Cup final and the Leafs had to watch Kadri go around the ice holding that cup over his head?
oh my
Oh,
God.
oh, that'd be some bitter, bitter juice in that cup. Oh,
Oh, For sure there would be. One thing we did at the beginning of the season too is we picked our sleeper cups. So I picked Winnipeg to win it, and I still think Winnipeg is a good team. If they get a few guys back for the playoffs, it wouldn't surprise me if they could get out of the division. You picked. Any guesses? Any guesses who you picked?
I have no idea. Like, I'm actually a little nervous about what I might have said.
The Philadelphia Flyers.
So, cut the recording, Wes. Yeah. Take this off.
So
damn it.
Yeah, man. It's something.
Can't be right all the time.
You're not wrong there, man. And it's something. How this has been a short season, but like one season can really change your view on a team, right? Like Philadelphia, they got off to a hot start, but they just couldn't hang on.
It's pretty unbelievable. Like I didn't, like I would not have seen that coming. Like flip them, Carolina and Philly, flip those two. Like, you know, that makes sense to me. But hey, hockey is a funny game, isn't it? Like
for sure. But you know, wow. It goes to show how hard it is to pick winners, right? Like we both watch and track a lot of hockey, and we got to pick 4 divisional winners, and we only got 1 right.
That sucks, man. Like we get, and I like to think that we're pretty in tune, and I actually do think that we're pretty in tune. But guess what? That shows exactly it. You watch any of the panels, you watch any of that stuff, like it's all over the map, you know. And at the end of the year, when somebody gets something right, they end up being like, "Woo! Look like we were at the trade deadline." That's why it was so damn exciting, you know. Like it's fun when you can nail it. But it's humble pie when you don't.
And it's crazy to think too, like, man, I bet if we go back to our first show and we picked each of our divisions, like who would make the playoffs, no one would have said Dallas wouldn't have made the playoffs. And they're not going to make the playoffs. Right?
We're going to go back and look into that. I hear you, man. Yeah. I hear what you're saying.
So it just doesn't take much. Like I know, and Sagan was injured, and there's so much to add up to it. But hey, man, we'll do our playoff preview, and at the end of the playoffs, we're going to do the same thing. We'll review our picks and see how we did.
Awesome. Let's keep a running bracket. All right. Like, well, let's actually put a little bit of a bracket together and see how far we can go with our bracket.
Absolutely, man. Well, let's move on to this day in hockey history, man. 1999, Scotty Bowman became the first coach in NHL history to win 200 playoff games when the Detroit Red Wings defeated the Colorado Avalanche 4-0 at McNichols Arena in Game 2 of the Western Conference semis. I don't know about you. I remember those Detroit-Colorado playoff series. They were awesome.
Dude, they were high intensity. It was absolutely insanity. Like Claude Lemieux, like, I mean, holy smokes, Draper, holy smokes, like the Donnybrooks that would take place. Dude, they did not like each other.
No.
That was one of the most hated rivalries, like heated rivalries that I've ever seen. Yeah. And I loved it from afar. I didn't have to be a fan of either team to absolutely enjoy that hockey. And you know what? That hockey, imagine if that took place today. Look what we just talked about with Tom Wilson and the Donnybrook with the Rangers and the Capitals. We can't handle that kind of hockey now.
No, I think you're bang on. Like those teams were made so differently from what teams are now. And think of it, Joe Sakic was on those teams, Peter Forsberg, those guys. So it wasn't just like big guys that could hit. Like they were highly skilled guys on the ice. Nick Lidstrom was on some of those teams. Like these teams were fantastic.
Buddy, weren't they? And Scotty Bowman, 200 playoff wins.
Yeah.
Can we just sit here for a second and realize that there's 4 wins to win a series?
Yeah.
So that's 10, 20, 40, 45 playoff series that man won.
Well, up to.
Up to. Yeah. Okay. But like that's insanity. Like the guy, no wonder he's got so many cups.
It is something, man. And I heard an interview with him the other day on the radio, and it's awesome just to hear him talk hockey. And like he was in his heyday when we were obviously too young, right, in Montreal and stuff. But man, those Detroit teams, I remember watching them and watching how good they were and watching his passion on the ice. And he had a hand in some of the Chicago teams as well that won their cups. So
sure he did.
He's a hockey lifer through and through.
I mean, I do believe that it's his nephew or whatever, maybe his son, the guy that's running Chicago right now.
It's his son, yeah. I think it's his son.
It's his son, you know, Stan Bowman, whatever. But I shouldn't have gone for his name, but Scotty Bowman was a legend through and through. 200 playoff wins. we're talking about trying to win our first playoff series in 20 years.
Exactly, man. Well, speaking of winning, what do you think of the upcoming game with the Toronto Maple Leafs on Wednesday? The Leafs are visiting Ottawa. I have a hard time reading this game. I don't know about you.
Me too. I mean, Ottawa has finished this season strong.
Mm-hmm.
Strong. They're not in last place right now, if I'm not mistaken.
No, they're not.
Nor should they be. They were the best last place team up until 3 games left in the season, Wes.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's pretty fantastic to see how they finished. I don't know how the Leafs are going to play here. I think that the Leafs aren't going to win this last game, but I don't think that the Leafs are going to be playing to anything other than dialing in details.
Yeah.
And I don't know what those details will be. But the coach is going to have a checklist. We as fans are going to have a checklist.
Mm-hmm.
Power play, power play, power play. How about checking out the power play? So I don't know. What do you think is going to happen in the game, bud?
I hope that either in this game or the next game against Winnipeg, which is the last game of the season, I hope we get to see Freddie play at least some of the game. I'm not even talking about the whole game. I just want to see him play like half of the game. And I think you're absolutely right. It's just like we have the luxury of being able to won the division. We're not losing any valuable points. So like, don't play Matthews the whole time. Like, play him 15 minutes, something like that. Get a sweat on, get him to play opportunistic hockey, but don't risk getting hurt.
No, I'm with you. Like, you don't need to be doing anything drastic, but at the very same token, I just don't want you blocking shots. That's really it. I want you following through with checks. I want you to be ready to get hit, because you just got to still play a little bit of an edge, but I'm with you. Maybe have 4 even lines, but if you're going to play Freddie Anderson, then you're going to shorten that bench up.
Yeah. It wouldn't surprise me, and like, it's almost like a preseason game where they would split a game between Anderson and Riddick, and maybe they would start it with Anderson, and maybe like halfway through they'd ask him if he wants to come out, and if he doesn't, then he'll play it, and if he does, then Riddick goes in.
Well, he's had a game and a half for the Marlies, bud.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's rust. He doesn't have a good defensive system in front of him because he's got the Marlies in front of him. So let's take the goals against with a grain of salt. Here I am sounding like a Freddie supporter, but in all fairness, he didn't look good. Like, they weren't great starts. Let's just hope they were just shake off the rust, but they didn't look like he did.
Hey man, do it with the Marlies at the end of the season. Don't do it in the playoffs. That's all that matters to me.
Hey, what matters to me is that if Freddie sees the net, that means that Jack didn't do well. And I'm hoping that that's the worst case scenario. So, not hating on Freddie, I just want Jack to do well. That's all.
All right, fair enough. I think that pretty much wraps it up for us tonight, unless you have anything else you want to add.
No, man, I just want people to to subscribe, and to send out a tweet. Tell us what the hell we're doing right, what we're doing wrong. And if there's any Habs fans, reach out to us.
Absolutely. I would love to even get in touch with a Habs fan before the playoffs start, if we are playing them, because it'd be an interesting discussion, man. Well, we're going to finish this the way we always finish it. Go Leafs, go.